Hi, and welcome to your Creating a Successful Mindset Talk with me, Faye Cox from Faye Cox Coaching. So, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, I hope everybody can see that. So, let's get straight on. So, creating a successful mindset. So, as a mindset and confidence coach, I help people set the foundation for their own success. Now, within this talk, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on me, part of my journey. Then we're going to look at who you are. We're going to go through some of the science stuff because it's really important to understand the background and where it comes from so you can bring it into your awareness so that you can do the work. So we're going to talk about the conscious versus the subconscious mind. We're then going to take a look at habits and those thought patterns that we have. We will look at how we can reframe your thoughts, reframe that self-talk, which is another really crucial one, because as humans, we don't speak to ourselves very nicely at all. We need to speak to ourselves more in a way that we would speak to our loved ones, friends, family, and potential clients even. I give you an insight into one of my favorite tools, which is mind mapping. We then look at what those foundations for success looks like. So we look at the things that we need to adopt in order to set the foundation for our own success, but also the things that we need to let go of. And there are a few things. So there's a little bit of tough love in there at the end. And then I just let you know as to where you can find me if you wanted to have a chat about how I may be able to help you, or whether you just like to follow me on any of my social media platforms. So who am I? As you can see there, I am a mum of two beautiful girls who I am currently doing what I now call my new term, which is the business mum shuffle. So I am mum, I am a business owner, and at the moment, I am also, I'm not saying teacher, definitely not, but maybe teaching assistant, I think is probably more of a better term. So my strengths are I'm organized, very positive, I'm extremely calm, I'm very good at English and grammar, which is helping at the moment. My weaknesses are tech. If anything to do with my business, the tech drives me absolutely mad. It sends me into an absolute overwhelm of procrastination. So I'm very grateful that I now have some amazing tech VAs on board who can help me there and stop me from tearing my hair out. Creative design is also not my thing, and neither is maths. So I have to leave the maths to my husband in this house. So if any of the girls are struggling with their maths, I'm not the woman for them. So Faye Cox Coaching was born in 2017. I got my qualification through the Inspired Spiritual Coaching Academy run by Sandy Forster, who is phenomenal and is worldwide known. I also studied with Master Coach Academy. I am qualified in NLP, CBT, and I absolutely love Joe Dispenza. He makes my life very simple because he talks about all the science. What he doesn't know about the scientific world of the mind isn't worth knowing. So if you're really interested in that, then go and look up Joe Dispenza. He is phenomenal. When I'm not working, when we're in a more normal environment than we're currently finding ourselves in, you will find me with my family eating sushi, which is my favorite food, and Thai. I've also become a very great fan of meditating. I love to read, particularly self-development books, business books, but I do also love an autobiography. I'm reading Elton John's at the moment. And I do like to visit the gym, which I haven't done in quite some time. So I am missing that. Now, I lost my self-esteem and confidence as a woman after I had my children. And that's one of the things that spurred me on to set up my business. I am a lover of routine and I am a natural born organizer. So the morning routine here has been described as something like a military operation, but in the normal world, when we have got school in the morning, it works a treat. And I've also always had an interest in how the mind works and how we can rewire it to better support us. I haven't always been really positive. I haven't always been able to turn that and use that to build part of the foundation of my own success. I used to be a little bit of a negative Nelly, but I am proof that you can turn those things around and you can help it to create that successful mindset. So first of all, we are going to look at who you are. In order to create a successful mindset, we need to know who we are as people. So who you are is determined by your core values and your beliefs. Your values are the ideas that you deem important, and they govern the way you behave, communicate, and even interact with others. Your core beliefs are concepts that you hold to be true, and you learn them from the people around you, including your parents, peers, mentors, and even society as a whole. They govern your thoughts, your words, and even your actions. Core beliefs are those hardened rock-life thoughts and assumptions, and they are derived from the choices and decisions you've made during your life. You've probably forgotten why and when you chose some of them, but they remain with you all the same. They're the things that you tell yourself that may or may not even be true. For example, you may tell yourself that you're not good enough or you're not clever enough. Well, I'm here to tell you that each and every one of you is good enough and you are clever enough and you can do this. So the good news is that it has been proven that your core beliefs and values are not fixed for life. It used to be considered that it was fixed and you couldn't change it. So you would hear people say, oh, that she gets that from her mum, she gets that from her dad, that's just the way I am. Well, no, I'm here to dispel any of that nonsense, because you can change the way you think, which will then change the way that you behave. And that changes your life. So I want to ask you, are those core beliefs and values, are they currently the ones that are going to give you the future that you really want to create? So let's take a look at the conscious versus the subconscious mind. So your conscious mind is structured and rigid compared to the subconscious, which is why it's a difficult state of mind to change. It responds best to technical, detailed, and precise information, which is why we call it your logical brain. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is a storehouse of information. Now, I like to think of it as like a huge library with many bookshelves and levels. And this is where you store your beliefs, those drives and your motivations, your values, and your general ideas about the world. So when you believe something to be true, whether it is or not, so I've got a bit of a frog in my throat today, you will behave as if it is true. So in other words, you will always act like the kind of person that you believe yourself to be. So for example, if you think you're terrible with money, and I know a lot of people have money blocks, my money story was awful until I did the work. So if you already think that you're terrible with money, you're never going to get ahead financially. You'll always act in ways that will reinforce your own stereotype about yourself, because your subconscious thinks it's absolutely true. The only way to break the cycle is to retrain your subconscious and eliminate the script that you're terrible with money. But like I mentioned before, we can do this. We can change that subconscious programming, and we can rewrite those money stories. So, for example, I was always told that money doesn't grow on trees. Who would you think I am? Made of money. We can't afford that. Blah, blah, blah. You probably know. I'm sure a lot of you will have heard a lot of them. Now, I took this in, so my money story was awful. I've had to now work on my own money story. My money story is now completely different to my parents. Doesn't make my parents wrong. Everything they did for me as a child was to protect me and to help me. Everything they thought they were doing was for the best. I don't pass those money stories on to my children. I now pass my money stories on to the children, in the fact that, yes, I can go out and earn good money. I can make good money doing what I love doing. So I have reframed my entire story from I can't afford to I can have. I can go out and, yeah, so reframes the whole thing and change my money story. And you can do exactly the same. So we can trick our subconscious mind, and this is one of the beauties of being able to change it, because your subconscious mind can't actually tell the difference between something that you have vividly imagined and something that has actually happened. And this is why visualizations are so incredibly powerful, because your subconscious, if you keep using these visualizations, your subconscious will believe them to be true. Now, if your inner and outer worlds are not congruent, then you'll continue to act like the kind of person you deep down believe yourself to be. And if you don't change your core beliefs, you will continue to self-sabotage yourself until your inner world becomes your reality. So, habits and thought patterns. Now, the brain has the capacity to learn and grow thanks to the human nervous system. Neuroplasticity enables you to adapt and change as a result of your everyday experiences. Your self-image was formed through your childhood, your life experiences, and the people you engage with, and the habitual thoughts that you think. So your self-image is what you think about yourself. And you probably created this a long time ago. We can recreate that self-image to better serve you and to put you on the road to success. Now, when we look at habits, we have to realize that every habit starts with a psychological pattern called a habit loop. And this has three parts to the process. Now, first is the trigger to tell your brain to go into automatic mode. Secondly, is the behavior that happens as a result of the trigger. And then finally, the brain's favorite part, the reward. And this is the part that the brain likes. And it helps it remember the habit loop for next time. So it goes round in this vicious circle: trigger, behavior, reward. And when it recognizes that reward and how nice it is and what that feeling is, then comes back to the trigger. So we get into this loop. And the way to break that habit, the loop first, is change the behavior. Because if you change the behavior, the brain then doesn't recognize, because we don't have that same reward, and then it starts to break that cycle. And as soon as a behavior becomes automatic within the habit loop, the decision-making part of the brain goes into sleep mode, which again is why this habit just continues and continues, because you're not conscious anymore when it comes to this habit. Now, it is said that it takes between 21 to 30 days to develop a new habit. Now, this is different for everybody. We are all different creatures. Our map of the world is different. No two people's maps of the world are the same, not even our siblings. So for some people, it could take 60 days. It could take longer. Now, remember, a lot of these habits that we're trying to form, so it's about forming new habits, not just about breaking the old ones. These are habits that we want to create to change our lifestyle, to change how we are perceived in the world, to create that successful mindset. So these can take a little while, and it takes practice, the same as everything. Practice, practice, practice. So in this time, in this time frame, you will need to override your habit loop. And you can do this by using better self-talk and a little discipline. And you will no doubt, as I've mentioned, need to create new mental as well as physical habits. So with that in mind, let's talk about cognitive distortion. Cognitive distortion are basically irrational thoughts that can influence your emotions. These kinds of irrational thoughts and beliefs can lead to problematic emotional states and behaviours, which include anxiety, low self-esteem, and even depression. It can also lead to conflicts in your closest relationships. So we're going to put a thought on trial now. This is an exercise that I use with my clients. Now we're going to act as a defence attorney, a prosecutor, and also a judge. So we're going to determine how rational your thought potentially is. So you can write down a thought that you may be having a problem with right now. Now first you're going to be the defence and write down the evidence you have in your mind that supports the thought. Then take that hat off and put your prosecution hat on and find the evidence that discounts the thought. Then finally take that hat off and put your judge's hat on and give your verdict on whether the thought is indeed fair or even accurate or true. Now, this is a really good NLP technique using the 3 pillars of perspective, and you can use this for any thought or any situation at any time. So let's reframe some of those negative thoughts. All the words you use to describe yourself make up your self-image and who you think you are. Now, cognitive restructuring is a great tool to help you to start thinking differently about an event, a situation, or even one of those core beliefs. Cognitive restructuring occurs when you become aware of your negative self-talk, when you stop it and you replace it with a more positive. Change your thinking to change your life. Now, we have between 50 to 70,000 thoughts each and every day. So it's no wonder we get overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, and confused on some days. Now, the trick here is to catch those negative thoughts and reframe them into positive ones. Now, this takes practice, as I've already mentioned, but it's so well worth doing because it really is life-changing. So your life is a reflection of everything you have programmed into your mind over time. The good news, like I mentioned, is that we can reprogram your mind for a better future. Now here's another exercise, which is a change your thoughts exercise. So identify a negative thought that you might be having. For example, I am not good enough. Nothing goes right for me. I can't do that. I'm going to fail. Explore the cause of the negative thought pattern, and this is where journaling is really, really helpful here to get everything written down. Take it out of your mind and write it down, and it helps you become aware and be able to see where those patterns are. So think about this negative thought, write it down, and think back to the first time that you ever thought this thought. It could be from your childhood. It could be from a job, a friend, an ex-partner. It's likely to come from something quite a while ago. And also keep a record of every time this thought comes up. What's happening around you at the time? What's happening in your external environment? How do you feel when this thought comes about? You'll start to notice a pattern as to what's happening externally that's triggering that internal dialogue. Then I want you to rewrite this thought as a positive statement, but make sure it's set in the present tense. So for example, I am not good enough becomes I am everything I need to be right now. Or I am going to fail becomes I am learning each and every day. Now break down any large pieces of information relating to the thought into manageable pieces, the same as you would a goal. If you keep it all too big, it becomes all too consuming And all you do is just push it back down into your subconscious until it keeps coming back up again. So let's reframe your self-talk. Improving your self-talk and reframing your beliefs relating to it can help you think your way to a more successful you. Once you discover the belief that is holding you back, you can start to challenge and reframe it. And this is where the magic happens. Now, here are some questions that you can ask yourself to challenge that belief. There's 4 questions here. 1, why do I believe this to be true? Again, use this in a journal. Write it down. Just write it out and just keep writing till something comes up. Where did these beliefs come from? What is it that's holding me back from achieving that success I'm after? And what can I do to change it? You can also list your challenges and reframe them if you prefer. So for example, life is always challenging. Your refrain here could be, life feels good today, I've got this. Another challenge, I never have enough money. Your refrain here could be, I have more than enough money for everything I need. You can then look at this daily and remind yourself to speak the more positive. So if there's something particularly that you have that is negative and you want to reframe, write it as a statement, put it somewhere where you can see it, put it in 3 or 4 different ways. We need to keep reaffirming, and the brain absolutely loves repetition, which is why we've got to this place in the first place. So to reframe it and to create those new thoughts, we have to repeat them to ourselves over and over and over again. And if there's somewhere where you can see them on a daily basis, that is the perfect way. So in time, after practice, like I mentioned before, this will become a habit, especially if it's done daily. And this will then trigger that more positive behavior and emotion and become your new belief system. How great is that? It's amazing. It really does make a big change. And this will help you to switch from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, which is what you need in order to succeed. Now, we need to let go of certain negative words that you catch yourself using on a daily basis, such as can't. In my sessions, I don't allow the word can't, won't, just, only, and fine. So anybody starts to have their negative talk, I catch them immediately, we interrupt that thought, we create a new powerful one, and that's the one we work on. That's the one we use moving forward. Now, a great way to be able to do this is to use one of my favorite tools, which is mind mapping. Now, your mind map can be used for anything. This can be used in business, it can be used for personal. So whatever the negative is, whatever it is we need to reframe, we can pop that in the middle. So we could have a thought that we pop in the middle. And then around it, write all the thoughts, the feelings, and anything that comes up relating to that thought, because it brings it out into your awareness. And then you can start working on it and then start finding those reframes. And you can do that with absolutely anything. A difficult situation that you find yourself in. I can't speak today. Put it in the middle and brainstorm all around it. It's really, 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 really key, and it's a great tool. So let's talk about those foundations for those successes. Let's talk about the things that we all need to be letting go of. Some of these are very difficult, some of these take time, some of these are scary, but once they're gone, oh, it is amazing. Now, a fear of failure, there is no such thing as a fear of failure. Well, there is the fear, obviously, and we do fail, but we have to fail. In order to succeed, there needs to be some failure so that we can learn what didn't work, we can learn what did work, move forward with what did work. So don't fear that failure, welcome it. Completely flip your mindset on it. Welcome the fact that yes, you've got something wrong because it's helping you learn and it's getting you that step closer to getting it right. Now, for those of you who are mums, I am mum guilt. Oh my God, my mum guilt used to be absolutely awful until I started to reframe it and started to realize that actually, do you know what? My kids are happy, they're healthy, they're well looked after. Yeah, they are loved. So I need to let go of that guilt because actually they are fine. My kids are fine. And the more I do what I need to do, the more successful my business becomes, the better their life becomes. So actually, everything I am doing is for myself, but also for them, and they are benefiting from all the inner work and the work that I'm doing. Mum guilt brings on stress, anxiety, which you then breed into your children without even realizing it. If you think we go back to that childhood programming, think about the programming that you're passing down into your children. Comparing yourself with others. It is scientifically proven that because of the neurons and everything in your map of the world, there is not another person out there who is the same as you. So use that. You are unique. Use it. Embrace it. Yeah, and stop worrying about what other people are doing, because you will see on social media, yeah, people's edits of all their best bits compared to everything in your life. They're not showing you the bits that aren't going right. They're not showing you the bits where it all fails. Yeah, so you're not seeing a like for like comparison. Worrying about what someone else is doing is another classic. I was only speaking to a client about this morning. She was seeing that somebody was putting something out, that classic social media thing again, and she decided, I can't put that out because somebody's already done it. So what if somebody's already done it? They've done it in their own way. You're going to do it differently. You're talking to different people. You attract different people. Do it your way. Yeah, and look at the results. Don't worry about how they're doing it. There is always going to be somebody out there who has done something before you have, but you're doing it in a different way. Go for it anyway. Stop telling yourself you're not goal driven, because to be successful, and I've learned this one the hard way as well, to be fair, is we need to set those goals, because we need to know where we're going. You wouldn't go on a long journey without knowing where you're going, how to get there, making sure you've got all the resources. If you're traveling with kids, snacks and all the other stuff in the car, where you might be able to stop, are you able to get a rest stop, where you might be able to refuel. Yeah, you wouldn't take that journey without knowing at least 80% of those stops, or those goals, those small goals, to get you to where you want to go. Other people's opinion. Now, this is where my tough love really comes in. Other people's opinion of you is based on their map of the world. And don't forget, their map of the world is different for yours. And I always remember, and this is something I had to keep telling myself, is that other people's opinion of me is based on their own fears. And quite frankly, their opinion of me is none of my business. If they are talking to me, they're talking about me behind my back, they're behind here, they're way over here. I'm not worrying about them. I'm doing my thing to my people where I want to be. Yeah, and I've managed to move past that. So other people's opinions aren't any of your business. You keep doing what you're doing, because there are people out there who want to hear from you. So there are things that we need to start doing as well. So allowing yourself to do and be you. Like I mentioned, you are 100% unique. Embrace it. Use it to your advantage. Be yourself. People know when you're not being authentic and you're not being true to who you really are. And actually, it repels people. You are always going to repel certain people because your energies don't match. You don't resonate. And that's okay. There is somebody out there for them. And there is people out there for you. Yeah. So keep the faith and be who you are. Choose one big goal, whether it be in life or business, and go all in on that big goal. Yeah. Try to cut out those distractions. We all have this thing where we try and do too many things at once. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, because the motivation then starts to drop, the discipline starts to drop. We get confused, we get overwhelmed. Do one thing at a time. Embrace your ambitious side. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. There'll be some childhood programming blocks there potentially as to why you don't want to put yourself out there. You don't want to create this visibility. But you can do that. Do the work, do the inner work. Recognize where that's coming from, so you can move it aside, so you can embrace your ambition and go for it. Ask for help. There isn't a single successful person out there who doesn't have a team behind them, who doesn't have people there to help when they are stuck. There will be some people out there who will be the front of a business or an event or anything that is going on in the world, and they will want to take the limelight. They are not doing it by themselves. Whether they're telling you they are or not, I categorically tell you they can't do it by themselves. I can't do everything by myself. Remember, we can do anything, but we can't do everything. We have our strengths, we also have our weaknesses. And where our weaknesses lie, bring in someone who's that is actually their strength and use that to help you move forward. Forget about the naysayers. There are always going to be people who say no. There are always going to be people saying, oh, you can't do that. I don't agree with that. Oh, God, what are you doing that for? Don't worry about them, because probably in a year's time, they're still going to be where they are. You'll have moved forward. You'll have left them behind. They are always going to be there. Learn to say no. Oh, my God, I could never say no before. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, people pleasing. It is a surefire way to bring on anxiety, stress, and even depression. And trust me, it's not going to get you where you need to go. There are really great ways that you can say no. You can say no politely. You can move stuff along. But we do need to say no to the stuff that isn't going to help us, support us, serve us, that isn't going to move us forward, so that we can allow the space to say yes to the things we really need to be saying yes. Create a better routine. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I do love a routine and I'd be absolutely lost without it. A really solid morning routine will set you up for the day. It gives you more hours than you think you have, because trust me, you do have the time. It's just maybe how you're prioritizing that time management, and being able to plan stuff around. And that also comes in nicely to the last one, which is about creating better habits. Now think about the habit loop. I want to really have a really good think about the habits that you want to create that are going to get you where you want to go. I'm not going to go into that. So I'm going to end by letting you know where you can find me. You can find me on Facebook at Baycott's Coaching 1. You can also go to my website, which is www.baycottscoaching.co.uk, where you can grab your free download, which is my guide to 12 ways to stepping into your confidence. I also have some other resources on my website, so if you'd like to go and have a look, then please do. Now, I just want to leave you with this, is that I want each and every one of you to step out of the shadows of other people's lives. Stop living for others and live for yourself. Create that success for yourself. Start putting yourself to the top of the pile rather than the bottom. Spend time on yourself. It's crucial. You deserve to be the very best person you can be. You deserve to be happy, successful, and full of joy each and every single day. And the only person stopping you from being that person right now is you. And remember, other people's opinions are none of your business. They're based on their own map of the world. Well, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope you've found it useful. I will stop sharing now. And that's it from me. So I hope you found that useful. If anybody has any questions, then do come and follow me. Do come and let me know. And all that's left to say is enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Take care. See you soon.